We have a few questions here. Would it be possible to answer some questions today as well?
نعم إن شاء الله.
Jazakumullah. So the first question we have here is, if you fall asleep with the intention to wake up to later pray your witr salah and tahajjud salah, but you fail to wake up before fajr, what do you do to make up the missed witr? It doesn't say anything about missing the tahajjud, so it asks, what do you do about missing the witr?
You can pray witr as soon as you wake up. Whenever you've woken up, you can pray the witr. If the tahajjud time has finished, you can't pray tahajjud, but you pray witr. You can make up witr. This was done by Abu Bakr. This was also done by Uthman. They made up witr. Some made up. They made the witr up. Some made it up after even sunrise. Nah, they made the witr up. So make the witr up, inshallah ta'ala. You don't need to pray anything before that. If it means just praying one rak'ah, you can pray one rak'ah. If it means praying 3 rak'ah of witr, you can pray 3 rak'ah of witr. No problem, inshallah ta'ala.
Jazakumullah khairan. Another question, Sheikh.
As for the reward
of
Tarawih and Tahajjud, if you sincerely, honestly had the determination to wake up and that's your day done, that's your routine of waking up and praying Tarawih and Tahajjud, and that was one off missing, you missed it, it's one off, it wasn't something regular that you miss, then you'll get the reward of Witr and Tahajjud, inshallah ta'ala.
Jazakumullah khairan. The next question asks for some advice. If when one is reading the Quran and they find some verses in contradiction to their own nafs, to their own desires, and the examples given in the question actually appear in Surah An-Nisa, some of them talking about inheritance, for example, and some of them talking about other matters, the person is asking for some advice, Ustad, if it contradicts their nafs.
Yeah, so what it means in essence being a Muslim is that we surrender our nafs, we surrender our whims and our desires and our choices to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's clear instructions, clear explicit instructions. We surrender to it. That's what Muslim means. And the reason we surrender to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is because whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructed for us, generally or specifically, collectively or individually, it is for betterment of our own selves. It is for the betterment of the society and the family and the next generation and so forth and so on. So it's better in so many different ways that we cannot even perceive it. And thereby surrendering to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is actually better for yourself and better for everyone else. Better for yourself, minimum, is that you will have contentment and sweetness that you have surrendered to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You gave in something for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because you believed in him and you gave in to his will, and that contentment can become the greatest sweetness and contentment in your soul, in your heart, that you actually gave something for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Some of the Salaf explaining the hadith of the 3 people that were stuck in the cave, and all of them, they had their self-interest, but they gave in their self-interest for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the one that was, for example, the young man who wanted his cousin sister, and he did everything to get her, but she obviously had the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At the end, when she eventually gave in and gave up, and then because she was in need of the money and so forth, eventually when he was about to have that relationship with her, haram relationship, she said, ittaqillah, fi Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And usually at that position, a man cannot stop himself, but he did, and because of he became from the awliya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He became from the awliya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She was already from the wali of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but he became from the wali of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so some of the stuff from that took a principle, and that is, when you want something, when you desire, when your nafs wants something so desperately, and then you give in and you give up, there's a sign there that most likely you will be amongst the awliya of Allah, the friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Jazakumullah khairan. We have a question from our beloved brother, Sheikh al-Islam. And Sheikh al-Bay asks, Assalamu alaikum, was reciting the words of Allah Azza wa Jal if he's in his car or walking outside and he arrives at a sajda verse, what should he do?
Now, you can do it later on. If you are unable to prostrate because of the inconvenience, then you can do it later on, inshallah ta'ala. No problem. You can prostrate later on.
Somebody asks, Sheikh, for a witr salah, does somebody need to recite the dua in Arabic? I'm guessing they mean during the salah.
If you do not know the dua of the that Sallallahu taught Ali ibn Abi Talib, you can recite any other dua is fine in Arabic. It needs to be because it's salah, it needs to be in Arabic. So you can recite any other dua like Rabbana atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhaban nar. Any other dua that you know in Arabic, you can read it, or any other dhikr, you know, you can read the dhikr like La ilaha illa ant subhanak inni kuntu minal zalimin. And in your heart, whatever dua you want to make to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in your heart, you can make that dua, inshallah ta'ala. But open your tongue, you utter the Arabic du'as which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed in the Quran or in the Sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Jazakumullah khairan. Somebody here is asking, why do some Qurra start with a full isti'adha and basmala and some of them just start with a isti'adha?
Both are fine, inshallah ta'ala. Both are fine. Maybe you can answer more in detail, Sheikh Adam. Bismillah.
Barakallahu feekum, Ustad. That is the complete answer. The only thing I would say is if you are obliged to say the basmala at the beginning of each surah, like Ibn al-Jazzi says, وَفِي ابْتِدَى السُّورَةِ كُلٌّ بَسْمَلَةٍ. At the beginning of every single surah, every one of the 10 Qurra gave the basmala, apart from Surah Bara'ah, which is Surah number 9, Surah At-Tawbah. As for the middle of the surah, then you have a choice, and possibly doing it is better, wallahu alam. Especially if you have a verse starting with the name Allah, like Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum. Somebody's asking, Ustad, does drinking, okay, this is an odd question, I'm going to skip that. Is it recommended to pray witr after tahajjud?
Naam. Witr is meant to be the last salah that's prayed at night time. Last salah is prayed at night time before Fajr time comes in. Yeah. So before suhoor ends, you should pray witr. So you should leave the witr, the last salah, or to be prayed in the night time. That is its place. Naam. So it should be prayed right at the end of the night, inshallah ta'ala. But however, if someone prays early and before that, that also suffices, as long as obviously they pray after Isha Salah.
A good question here from somebody. Why do we only pray witr in Jama'ah in Ramadan?
Because firstly, it was the sunnah of Prophet ﷺ to pray Taraweeh and then witr in Jama'ah, and also the sunnah of the Sahaba and throughout the year, it's not reported that the Messenger ﷺ prayed tahajjud in Jama'ah intentionally, calling people together. He didn't do that other than Ramadan. Also witr, he did not do that other than Ramadan. So we're simply following the sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the sunnah of the Sahaba, the companions radhiyallahu anhum ajma'in.
Jazakumullah khairan. I'll have one more question for you, Sheikh, if you don't mind.
Yes, inshallah. This can be the last one.
Okay, so it's quite an important one. So what I'll do is I'll give you one small, tiny one before, just so we can answer the brother's question, which is what is the meaning of witr? But then the main question is to do with negative thoughts. I'm not going to read the exact wording of the question, Sheikh, but overall, how do we turn negative thoughts into more productive, meaningful dua? If there's so much worrying and ham and hazan and sadness and anxiety, how does somebody channel all those negative feelings and emotions into meaningful, positive du'as?
The best way to cleanse and purify yourself is to recite the Quran. Is keep reciting the Quran. Exhaust yourself by this reciting the Quran. Keep reciting, keep reciting, keep reciting, keep reciting. There's nothing, there is no power, there is no strength, there is no sin, there is no disease of the self that can take the Quran, the Kalam of Allah. It cannot take it. It cannot take it, it cannot bear it. Eventually, whatever the issue is, it will be removed, it will be cleansed, it will be purified, it will be cured, it will be lessened. Yeah, it will be taken away, whatever it may be, whatever it may be. So recite the Quran, recite the Quran, recite the Quran with the intention of bonding with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with the intention of engaging with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with the intention of removing the diseases of your nafs, stinginess, miserliness, ego, pride, arrogance, envy, jealousy, all of that. Recite the Quran, recite the Quran. If you can't recite the Quran, even if you have a barrier against reciting the Quran, right, listen to the Quran, put the Quran up to a good high volume and listen to it, listen to it, listen to it, listen to it, keep listening to it, keep listening to it, keep listening to it. Sooner or later you'll see your heart is becoming softer, your mind is becoming more clearer, you're able to think more straight, you're able to think more positive about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, about the deen, about yourself, about your surroundings. So that's my main advice is recite Quran, recite Quran, recite Quran. If you cannot even do that, listen to Quran, listen to Quran, listen to Quran. And the second advice is find positive people, find people who are achieving a lot, find people who are practical, solution based, people who always think of solutions. They never stagnant, they never stop, they are always thinking ways of bettering themselves, improving themselves, finding solutions to their problems, and they're always solving problems. Yeah, and they're always thinking positive, they're achieving things, nothing is stopping them, because the trials you're going through, other people are going through. They might be going through worse trials, but you see them, they are achieving things. The reason they're achieving things is because they're mentally strong and they are thinking positive. Yeah, so stay with those people. Sooner or later, their belief system, the way they believe about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and about this life, will come to your hearts and come to your minds. The way they think, it will come to you. The way they plan, it will come to you. Sooner or later, it will brush off on you, and then you'll be able to then start thinking the way you ought to think, and then eventually you'll be able to lift yourself up out from that dungeon or from that dark place that you're in. You will be able to lift yourself up without anyone directly assisting you, inshallah ta'ala. So first, recite Quran. Second, if you can't even do that, listen to the Quran. And third, make friends with people who are achieving a lot and who are positive in their thoughts.
Jazakumullah khairan. With that, we'll end our night, brothers and sisters, and keep us in your du'as, inshallah, and Dar Al-Arqam as well in general. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khair, everyone. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala place barakat in your houses, within your families, within your life and wealth and health. Allahumma ameen.
Allahumma ameen.